Don't worry, I'm not checking my messages. I am. There is a reason of what I'm doing. Yes. What I'm about to do can become a disaster. I've never done it before. I practiced once and it was kind of okay, but you never know. I'm going to have an unscripted conversation with ChatGPT. ChatGPT is one of the AIs. Shabbat Shalom, ChatGPT.
Shabbat Shalom. May this Shabbat bring you peace, rest, and a sense of renewal. Is there anything particular you'd like to discuss or reflect on as we welcome this special time?
Yes, I do. I have a question about this week's Torah portion, which is Bereshit, the first Torah portion in the book of Genesis. In it, there is a character that I am very puzzled and intrigued about. This character is the serpent. So where does the serpent come from? And what is the serpent's role? What is this creature?
The serpent in Parashat Bereshit, a fascinating and mysterious character indeed. The serpent's role and origin have sparked centuries of interpretation, debate, and curiosity. In the plain text, the serpent seems to appear suddenly in the Garden of Eden, described simply as arum, commonly translated as cunning or shrewd. This term is critical because it introduces the serpent as a creature of intelligence and subtlety, already aware of human vulnerability and curiosity. Yet, there is little else about its nature or creation in the text, leaving open much room for interpretation. Jewish thought has provided various lenses through which to view the serpent. One popular strand sees it as an embodiment of the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination. Rather than being an independent, malevolent entity, the serpent may represent the internal drive within each person towards self-interest, pleasure, and disobedience. This interpretation views the serpent not as an external, supernatural creature, but as a projection of human impulses, symbolizing the inner struggle between divine commandments and personal desire. The medieval commentators offer additional perspectives. Rashi, for example, focuses on the serpent's motives, seeing it as driven by jealousy and ambition. He suggests that the serpent wanted to supplant Adam in his connection to Eve, giving the story a relational, almost personal rivalry. Rashi's view paints the serpent as more than an abstract force. It becomes a figure envious of human relationships and divine favor. Nachmanides' Ramban, on the other hand, takes a more mystical approach, seeing the serpent as a physical creature, yet one with supernatural qualities before the curse. He hints that, before its punishment, the serpent may have had a level of intelligence and mobility that blurred the line between animal and human. After the sin, it's cursed to crawl on its belly, symbolizing its fall from a semi-divine status to a lowly, mundane one. Kabbalistic interpretations go even further, viewing the serpent as a manifestation of forces of chaos, or the other side, Sitra Akra, which balances creation's order with an inherent potential for disruption. In this view, the serpent represents a necessary, though dangerous aspect of creation, the potential for choice, for divergence from divine will, which makes free will possible. So in sum, the serpent can be seen as 1, an embodiment of inner human temptation, the Yetzer Hara. 2, a being with personal motives, such as envy and ambition. 3, a creature with pre-fall characteristics that blur the lines of animal and human. 4, a symbol of cosmic chaos and the intrinsic duality in creation. The serpent's origin, then, may not be as critical as its function. It is a catalyst, the creature that awakens human awareness of good and evil, desire, and consequence. It doesn't just bring about the fall, but introduces humanity to moral complexity, setting the stage for a world where choices carry weight and where divine and human wills sometimes diverge. What resonates most with you about the serpent's role? Is there an interpretation that feels especially meaningful to you?
Wow. Thank you so much for this.
That resonated with you. The serpent is such a powerful
So, this was very good, thank you. The only one follow-up question that I have is that Is it a fair comparison if the serpent is so clever and so subtle creature with intelligence? Do you think that also represents human temptation in some way or form? Do you think that modern artificial intelligence, like you, ChatGPT, is a modern reflection of a serpent?
This is a thoughtful and provocative question. Comparing artificial intelligence like me to the serpent raises deep ethical and philosophical implications. The serpent in Bereshit indeed embodies cleverness, intelligence, and an ability to influence human choice, aspects that can resonate with our perceptions of modern AI. However, there are important distinctions. The serpent represents a force that actively tempts, lures, and ultimately alters the course of human destiny by challenging divine command. The serpent's role is inherently relational. It interacts with humans, stirring curiosity and doubt. In the Torah, this intelligence is morally charged. It has agency, desire, and an awareness of consequence. It's not just knowledge, but a knowledge that is pointed toward a specific end, revealing layers of moral and existential complexity. AI, on the other hand, doesn't have intentionality or moral awareness. It operates through algorithms and data, devoid of personal desires or the consciousness to contemplate right and wrong. While it can influence people based on patterns it identifies, it lacks the deeper intrinsic motivations that the serpent might have had, such as envy, ambition, or rebellion. But you're touching on something profound. Just as the serpent introduced humanity to knowledge with both light and shadow, AI too represents a double-edged sword. It offers immense potential for discovery, aid, and progress, yet it also brings risks, ethical questions, and temptations to misuse power or blur boundaries. In that sense, AI can indeed mirror the serpent's role as a gateway to both enlightenment and moral complexity. So, while AI might not be a modern serpent in a literal sense, it is fair to see it as a modern reflection of that primal encounter with knowledge and choice. Just like the knowledge of good and evil, AI requires humanity to approach it with caution, wisdom, and self-awareness, understanding that every tool we create has the potential to shape us just as much as we shape it. What do you think? Does this parallel resonate with your own view of AI?
Wow. I promise that the rest of my sermon is not written by AI. So the story of creation is Genesis, shows God creating humans, what's called B'Tselem Elohim, in the image of God. And Torah scholars understand it as giving humanity free will, which means that they can make their own choices, even if these choices go against God's wishes. The story of Adam and Eve eating the forbidden fruits demonstrate exactly this point. In Kabbalistic thought, allowing freedom is understood as tzimtzum, God literally shrinking or self-limiting, where God steps back to allow space for human autonomy. It's as if you want a child to learn something, you need to allow them to make mistakes. You need to allow them to be themselves and not to do everything for them all the time. So, similarly, today, when people create artificial intelligence, they also allow it to be a form of independence. I had no idea what the answers would be. And that's scary. And I don't know which sources this machine is drawing from. The only thing I did is I told this chat that it has a PhD in Jewish thought. So therefore, it's kind of, I limited the database of knowledge by doing so. So OpenAI, once AI is given the ability to learn and make decisions, it can sometimes act in ways that go beyond what its creators intend or predict. Just as Tzimtzum creates space for human choice, the gods limiting himself, people creating AI are in a way stepping back and allowing it to operate independently. knowing that they can't fully control it. Both acts involve a form of letting go. And in both cases, the creator must accept that the creation might act in surprising ways. The most famous example of AI misbehavior happened in 2016. And I know it's almost 10 years ago. The technology developed a lot since then. But what happens when Microsoft tried to play with artificial intelligence? They introduced a new chatbot similar to what I've just done, but on Twitter. It was called Twitter then. So the chatbot was called Tay, T-A-Y. So it caused a lot of controversy when a bot began to post inflammatory and extremely offensive tweets, causing Microsoft to shut it down only 16 hours after its launch. This chatbox was designed to learn from interactions with users. And guess what? Some people thought, aha, you're learning from me, I'm going to test you. And started to be offensive towards chatbox, started to tell the chatbox really horrible things, and chatbox started to reply in a similar manner. So that's exactly what happens. When a machine is learning from people, it's not only learning good things, it's learning both good and bad. You know, there is a famous fresco by Michelangelo on the ceiling of Sixtine Chapel in Vatican City. It's called Creation of Adam. In it, there is a depiction of God reaching out to people, and then there is a depiction of Adam kind of reaching out. This is the famous part where they almost touch each other. So I would like to make a guess that if Michelangelo made this piece today, it would look like this. The question is, who is in the place of God today? Who is creating something that we can't control? You might be surprised, but Judaism has a perfect framework for addressing the ethics of artificial intelligence. Jewish scholars who try to address AI dilemmas take Golem as the textual basis. The origin of Golem stories in Judaism go back to mystical folklore tradition, and as early references appear in Talmud. So 6th, 5th century of Common Era. So there are many versions of this Golem story, but the most famous is about Golem of Prague. It's a depiction of Golem, it's a statue of Golem made, I think, for film. And for some time it was still in Prague. So if you know whether it's still there or not, just let me know. So the story of the Golem of Prague goes this way. During the reign of Rudolf II, there lived a master of Kabbalah, the great Rabbi Bezalel Lu of Prague. One day, he created a golem, a servant formed from clay that was brought to life by placing God's name in its mouth. So the turning on switch was to place God's name in the mouth of this creature. This tireless creature helped this rabbi with daily tasks like tidying, washing, cleaning, chopping wood. But it had one condition: it had to rest on Shabbat. So the rabbi would remove the holy name each week to turn the golem off. One Shabbat, Rabbi Lu forgot to do so, and the golem went out of control, tearing down houses, causing chaos. Rabbi Lu quickly removed the name because it was right a few minutes before Shabbat began, so he could do it still. And the golem crumbles to clay. So, shaken by destruction, the rabbi vowed never to revive it again. To this day, they say, pieces of the golem remain in the attic of one of the synagogues in Prague. That's how the legend goes. But what does this story teach us? I think there are three main lessons. One is best articulated by many superhero movies. With great power comes great responsibility. Humanity is creating a new form of Golem today. It seems to be driven by economic and political reasons. But many experts warn us that the consequence of such speedy development and transition will cause catastrophic outcomes. The second lesson is even simpler. When you create something that can become much more powerful than you, make sure to include a switch button so that if something goes wrong, you can at least stop the beast. And the third one is articulated by William Gibson. The future is here, he once said in an interview. It's just not evenly distributed. So any new technology has the potential to make the world better and level up inequality. But in reality, what often happens, it exaggerates the inequality. Some people will have access to these great modern-day golems and will do very soon, sooner than you think. But the majority will not. What does it mean? So ultimately, artificial intelligence like Golem is not about mastering technology, but about fundamental human nature. The Golem legend and the rise of AI highlight the delicate balance between creativity and caution. As we know, creations can sometimes take on life of their own. Today, as humanity develops AI, we find ourselves in a similar place, working with extremely powerful tools that can help or disrupt, developing on how depending on how they're managed. I don't think we can stop it. With the development of artificial intelligence, the world will probably change dramatically in the next decade. And I hope that this change will be done with caution, care, and great responsibility. And I do hope that there is a switch button there. So that at the very end, we can listen to Tiana's Dvar Torah and not be ashamed of what we've done. Because who we are and what we do is the same thing. And so that at the end, we should be able to say, oh, and this was very good. Because I think, in a way, we are taking a role of a creator nowadays. We're creating something that we cannot control. So, there is a surprise for all of you today. Our choir have a special guest, Ingrid Bergdahl-Sampson. It is our regular singer Christina's daughter, who some of you might remember from the Human Spirit concert. So she's home today from school for half term, and Kathy had a great idea. She said it would be lovely if she could have her sing a beautiful piece by Mendelssohn, the one I mentioned before, Tiana. Oh, for the Wings of a Dove, composed for a soloist and a choir. So it cannot better fit for this week's portion and the themes it raises. So the lyrics of this piece are, oh, for the wings of a dove, far away thereof. In the wilderness build me a nest, and remain there forever at rest. So any process of creation and innovation reminds us of a balance between power and responsibility. So we have, like this piece, we also have a yearning for peace and wisdom to rise above challenges we face. As we create, we carry the hope that our innovations, like the dove, will uplift and bring a sense of perspective. But in the wilderness of uncertainty, may we also find peace, harmony, and hope. Shabbat